Alright, so in this video we're going to look at how to, again, kind of continue to do some seating, but in this case we're going to use three cross-section curves, right? So we still have a lot of variety in which each of these profiles look like, but again, regardless of how they look like, the key thing to always remember is that they all have the same number of control points, right? So I can see that they all have 6, regardless of where they're placed. This is going to allow for everything to match together as we begin to sweep or loft these profile curves together. And in this case too, we're going to show how you do it with a continuous or closed curve. In the previous one, we looked at segments. This one shows how you can still achieve it in Grasshopper with a closed curve. It again requires to actually divide this into segments, and then you just start to piece which two profiles are together, kind of like the last video, but this is just going to show it how they all work. And obviously you can, if you want to show more or use more of these profile curves, you can always add them to this process as well. But this, again, just shows you how you can add multiple to them. And again, by having them in Rhino, if I turn the control points on, I can actually start to edit the overall seating as well. So again, we're going to start with this curve, reference it. And next thing we want to do is decide where we want these profile curves to go. So one of the easier ways to do is to use the point on curve component. So think of this one, you want to have one at the very start, so start with one at 0. You can now pick one where you want it. You could have it close, you could have it a third, really doesn't matter, but this is where you can start to decide where that one's going to be. And then next one you do it for here. I'm actually just going to go ahead and delete these two for now because again, it's going to be one of those processes where I'm going to basically go through the whole process for one of these and then just copy and paste it instead of having to repeat that as well. So in order to get this to work, again, we have to go through the similar process of finding where the plane is for our rail curve or the footprint of our seating, and then finding the plane for the profile curve we're going to use. So I'm going to use the curve closest point for this. So it's asking for the curve and the point. This is giving me my parameter value. And again, we don't want to just jump right into using the perpendicular because I'll show you what happens. So right now it's, again, the red is to the left, green is going up. If I want to decide to use maybe just a single rail curve, and I reference this one now. So again, remember where those directions are. Let's reference this one. Well, I guess we're lucky in this case, where they're still going in the same direction, but sometimes those still won't stay aligned. I mean, I'll try it again or later to show you. When I was working on it before, it wasn't matching, so again, it's just kind of a precautionary way to make sure that everything stays aligned. So again, I'm going to not use the perpendicular, I'm going to use the horizontal frame. And then from this, I can start to make my new frame. It is kind of a important to maybe actually reference these two to kind of figure out what their plane is. You can always kind of see which process is going to just require the least amount of steps. So I'm going to also bring this one here, reference it. And again, I'm also going to use the point. Notice that they've got the point all in the same bottom left corner. So this is again going to help us decide where I want that plane to be. So I'm going to, again, construct a plane. The origin's going to be there. Oops, let's reference that point. right? So I can see that green's going up, red is going to the right. So in this case, for these frames, let's actually just do it this way to make it one less step. So I want, again, for this frame, I want to go ahead and deconstruct it. And then same thing, I'm gonna construct a new plane using the original. In this case, I want the green to go up with that, so I'm going to use the Z to represent my Y. And then in this case, I want the Y to represent the X, but I can see that the red's pointing in, on these ones the red's pointing out, so I'm going to actually just give this a negative X to reverse that direction. So now we can see that, again, if these are truly profiles, the green is pointing up, the red is pointing out, and now I've got that going accordingly. So again, it just kind of helps with the process have few less components. And again, now I can turn these off, and now I can actually orientate it. So orient. So this is the curve I want to orient, the original plane, and then this new plane, right? So there we go. So now that's nice and orientated. And what's great again is that now that I've copied this process, or now I've finished it, I can go ahead and copy and paste it. Choose a new location. Again, I'll see that the plane's always gonna stay in that orientation. So I'm gonna do the same thing with this too. Copy and paste it, but now use this one. And now I'm just gonna use a different profile curve and point. Just give ourselves a little more breathing room in the script. Okay, so I can see that that one's now aligned. Now I can just copy and paste one more time. Again, I'll move this to a different location. Use a different curve. A different point. Perfect, there we go. Okay, so now we've actually got them oriented. But like I said, we aren't going to actually use a closed curve. We actually want to use the parameters that are coming out of here to fracture our curve. So this is going to be, again, our new rail curve. So I'm going to go to curve and use the shatter component. So again, I'm shattering this one using all three of these parameters. So I'm just going to hold shift to make sure that they all merge together or all go into that input. And I'll see, I just want to kind of put this in a good strategic location. Let's just put it above everything, I guess. Doesn't look like it's gonna look nice either way, so doesn't matter. So I can see now that I've got my three planar curves, right? It started out as one, now it's three. And again, I don't want to have to add more components or a whole lot of more components to actually specify which one I want to use. So I can always go to sets, tree, explode. I'll plug this into there. And I'm actually going to graph these inputs. And then it's going to give me this warning that there's more branches going in than coming out, right? I've got three going in, but only two of these outputs. So I can always right click and say match outputs. Now I got each one of these as their own designated output. If I wanted to do it another way, a more kind of complicated way, is that I'd have to use the list item and choose each specific list index, which again, it's just going to require me to create a single component and a index list for all three. And obviously, if we start to have more, if you want to have 4 or 5, then that can start to get really kind of tedious. So this is kind of a quick way to just produce those outputs that way. So now it's basically going to be using the same kind of process as the last video, where I use the sweep 1 to begin to make that surface. So again, it's asking for the rail, so we'll start off the first one. I know that the start's there, then the second, third, so I know that this is the first rail. Now it's asking for those profile curves, so we can even turn this off. So let's start off with this as our first one, and again, it needs multiple, so I'll hold shift, combine. Now I've got those blending together. So now I'm basically just going to, again, copy and paste this, use the next rail curve. I'll still use this component. So I'm just going to click and drag that so it just keeps that as that. Then I'm going to now include the other one. All right, so now it's merging all three together, but now I kind of want to bring that third or last one and bring it back to the origin. So I'll just do this one more time. So now I'm using this third rail. And again, I want to use the second one, or sorry, the third one, and merge it back with the first. Perfect, so there we go. So now we've got all three together. Last thing I want to do, instead of thinking of these as 3 segments, I can actually join these all together. So I'm going to hold shift. And you'll see that most likely it's still going to see them as 3 B reps that haven't been actually joined. So I'm just going to go ahead and flatten this. Now I can see that I've got 1 closed B rep. Perfect. And again, what's cool about this is that basically now I can dictate where I want it to kind of elevate up with this middle one, right? I can start to adjust where that is. It can be higher or closer to the original. I can use this one as another location that kind of maybe isolate it almost. Or I could have it really kind of go out much further. And again, one of the cool things about this is that, again, if I want to, I can just turn on the points for all 3 of these and start to adjust them to be slightly different. Maybe I don't want that as high, and maybe it has this kind of more pointed, right? Is it no longer a seed? I don't know. Maybe it starts to kind of just be some type of interesting form, right? It's instead of this, again, it's just looks like a standard rectangle, but it has enough control points to actually edit it into something else. So maybe now it's kind of like a rhombus curve, right? It's pretty interesting in terms of how these start to merge together. Like I said, what's good about it is that regardless of if it's closed or an open curve, let's go back to what I was referring to earlier. If I just want to now have kind of a single line segment that goes for a pretty long distance, in this case, I can just say set 1 curve, and everything should still be aligned nicely, right? So again, it's one of those things you can just change that rail curve with anything once you establish that, and then change that too. So again, it makes it very dynamic and versatile in that case. So And obviously you can always go back. Obviously, since this is enclosing, that's why this isn't liking it, so you can always just delete that one. Um, so yeah, that will pretty much, again, wrap up this one. I'm going to go back a couple steps just so it's functioning with this. And kind of building off the last video, we can start to contour it to give it more of a ribbed uh, wooden frame quality. It could be concrete, it can be steel. You have a lot of options to kind of determine what that material and overall condition looks like. So